The Whispers in the Woods. I've always been a fan of hiking. There's something restorative about being out in nature, away from all the noise of everyday life. Last fall, I decided to tackle a lesser-known trail near my hometown. It was supposed to be a quiet spot, perfect for clearing my head. Little did I know, the woods had a story of their own. It was a crisp Saturday morning when I set out. The sun was just starting to peek through the trees, casting long shadows on the ground. As I walked, the sound of crunching leaves filled the air, and I enjoyed the solitude. No one else was out there, or so I thought. About an hour in, I began to notice the strange things. At first, it was just a few odd sounds, branches snapping in the distance and rustling leaves. I shrugged it off, convincing myself it was just wildlife. But the deeper I went, the more unsettling it became. I crossed a small stream and found myself drawn to a narrow path I hadn't seen on the map. It felt like the woods were inviting me. Against my better judgment, I decided to explore. The air changed as I walked, growing heavier. It felt like the sunlight was dimmer, even though it was midday. After a few minutes, I stumbled upon an old, abandoned cabin. It looked like it hadn't been touched in decades. The wood was gray and rotting, with vines curling around the walls. My curiosity got the best of me, and I decided to take a look inside. The door creaked ominously as I opened it, revealing a dusty interior. The air was stale, filled with the scent of mold. I stepped inside, my footsteps echoing unnaturally in the silence. There were remnants of old furniture, broken chairs, a collapsed table, and a stone fireplace. But what caught my attention was a torn-up piece of paper on the floor. I bent down to pick it up, and my heart sank. It was a newspaper clipping from years ago, detailing the disappearance of a local woman. The picture looked eerily familiar, like someone I knew. I couldn't put my finger on it at the time, but it gave me chills. Suddenly, I heard it. Faint whispers. At first, I thought it was just the wind or perhaps my imagination playing tricks on me. But as I listened closer, I realized they were distinct voices. They seemed to be coming from outside. My instincts kicked in, and a wave of fear washed over me. I quickly left the cabin, but I wasn't alone. As I stepped outside, I saw shadows flitting between the trees. I could have sworn I saw a figure standing just beyond the tree line, but when I blinked, it was gone. My heart raced. Something was definitely off. I decided it was time to head back. The trail I came from felt different. The whispers intensified, growing louder and more frantic. It was as if the woods were alive, trying to communicate with me. I could feel prickles on the back of my neck as I hurried down the path, my legs carrying me faster than I thought possible. Just as I thought I might be getting close to the main trail, I heard the whispers clear as day. I stopped dead in my tracks. They were calling my name. My stomach dropped. I turned quickly, trying to see if there was actually someone there. Instead, I found myself staring into the darkening woods, where the shadows seemed to writhe and twist. Alice, the whisper echoed through the trees, and I froze. How did it know my name? I wasn't even sure how to answer, but the woods screamed to me to run. That's exactly what I did. I dashed through the trees, branches clawing at my arms and legs. All I could think was to get back to my car. I pushed myself harder, adrenaline pumping through my veins. Every whisper was followed by a rustle, every rustle by a shadow darting just out of sight. When I finally burst through to the main trail, I kept running until I reached my car. I fumbled for my keys, nearly dropping them as I unlocked the door and jumped inside, slamming it shut like it would protect me from whatever was chasing me. I drove away without looking back. For weeks after, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. I avoided that trail, and honestly, I haven't hiked since. I kept researching to find any information about the woman from the newspaper clipping, but there was almost nothing. It's like her story was lost to time. To this day, I wonder what I encountered in those woods that day. Was it the ghost of a woman lost? Was someone trying to warn me, or was it purely my imagination? I guess I'll never really know. But one thing is for sure, some trails are better left unexplored.